good.
Thank you for the reminder.
Alrighty, well, how do we introduce this? Well, folks, I'm here with Kurek Ashley, and as I said to Kurek before, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said to Kurek when I first met him a moment ago downstairs that I feel like a schoolgirl with a crush on a rock star, because I've heard this guy's name so often, and by so many people that I respect. I feel like I'm in the presence of something, you know. Feel a little bit nervous in this, so mate, I appreciate you taking the time to do this with us, bud. And so really this will be going out to a bunch of people who have had some interaction with me. They might have bought a CD or a book series of mine, or they might have you know, been at a training I've done, primarily real estate agents, but of course you know, the lessons that you've taught and that I've seen in your spoken materials and stuff are certainly universal. So thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. And yeah, I've just got, I suppose, a few thoughts of where this could go, but it can go wherever the hell you want it to go. Because given that you know, I'm so respectful of your work and who you've hung out with, mate, I can't wait to just hear what you've got to say to help. But know that I suppose the main group of these people are real estate agents of varying degrees of success. You know, real estate salespeople, some just started, who have no idea what this industry's got to offer, the benefits, the pitfalls, you know, in the sales career. Some a couple of months and years into their careers. So everyone's at a certain degree of satisfaction with where they're at. Everyone's, no matter how successful they are, if they're listening to this, there's some part of them that's going to want more and better, or however you want to define, and the growth. And again, that's certainly that's why they've come to me, and that's why I'm going to unleash you on them and stuff. So I guess one of the things a lot of speakers, it's almost become a cliche with these sorts of interviews, but if someone hasn't heard of you, the first thing they could do is Google you and have a look at photos with you and Clinton, you and Travolta, you and Stallone, you and Chuck Norris.
Photoshop's great.
But yeah, so you've hung out with some of the best of the best. I suppose just give us a short back and sides of Kurek Ashley's story.
Well, I've been very fortunate. I came from Chicago. I was just, you know, kind of a tough street kid, you know, abused family, blah, you know, you have the story like everybody else. But I always had the escapism of saying that I was going to be somebody someday. You know, I listened to Elvis albums until literally they wore out. 1977, I got to see Elvis live. You know, which was, you know, I was just a guy who was always going to make things happen for me. And
you're holding your age well, bud.
Yeah, thank you. I'm 407. Actually. I was going to tell you my story about Moses, but when we were hanging out at the Dead Sea. But you know, and then what happened was, I left for Hollywood. I wanted to be an actor. You know, I started at 13 years old, and I thought that was my goal, my dream. And I had seen Grease 18 times, Saturday Night Fever 16 times, because I studied John Travolta, because like if you go to my website, you'll see there's a picture of us together. And we looked like brothers back then. So I always related with him, saying that, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And I looked, you know, and Elvis, again, I idolized Elvis, and I said, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And then Stallone, Rocky comes out in 1976, and I said, man, if he can do it, I can do it. So what I've realized, though, is from all the successful people that I've ever studied over the years now and met, that's one of those things that everybody who's ever been successful, that's what they look at. Instead of looking at what average people do, all the people who failed, they go, see, all those people failed, I'll never make it. The successful people look at the successful people and go, wow, they can do it, I can do it. Now see, right there's just a shift in that. And so for me, it was funny. I said, I'm going to meet and know John Travolta someday. You know, I'm going to meet and know Sylvester Stallone someday. Then 1984, there was an unknown kind of a motivational speaker, you know, nobody knew about. Guy used to put like 50 people in his seminars back then. His name was Anthony Robbins. You know, read his book. Oh, he's my age, and he does fire walking. I said, I'm going to know this guy. I'm going to do a fire walk with him in Hawaii, you know. Well, anyways, I went on to become good friends with Sylvester Stallone, still to this day. And I finally, by the way, it's a little side story, is I just finally got a Rocky poster out of him this year.
Okay.
It took me 25 years of knowing him to finally squeeze a poster out of him.
Man, I love it. See, we've just met, and everything you've said, I know Greece, or at least I was a party trick for people knowing Greece off by heart. And a girl took me around this party, and we may have this bit out, but I want to keep it in for a can. A girl took me around a party saying to people, this guy knows Greece off by heart. And say a bit. And they'd say, oh, the Summer Lovin' scene. And I'd say, look, don't waste my time with that. That's too easy. And then they looked at me with a steely look and said, okay, the scene with Miss McGee, or they didn't name her, the scene with the principal, when she rings the little thing, and I go, oh, you mean the bit where they go boom, 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 good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to what we're sure will be our greatest year at Rydell. And I went on for 10 minutes, or 5 minutes, or maybe 3 minutes, but they kept picking scenes. I knew it off by heart. I thought I was the geekiest guy in the world. I thought I was the only guy in the world who liked, the only guy in the world who liked Two of a Kind, you know, and the song Twist of Fate. And when I heard you were in it, man, I thought, how cool.
My first movie, and I was on the set for Twist of Fate when I just saw it on YouTube.
Right.
And that's the film where John and I became friends.
Right. Yeah.
Which is a story I talk about in my book, and that is that, you know, one of my very best friend, he's my mentor, John Hirschfeld, who wrote and directed Two of a Kind. He was the one who got me to read Think and Grow Rich in 1980.
Right.
And he forced me. I mean, he would call me up from the studios and he'd go, what page you on? I said, 86. And he goes, what's happening? And I'd say something, he goes, you're a liar.
Yeah.
Come home and And how he knew that I was lying, I had no idea, but he called me. Or if I was right on, he'd go, great, awesome, congratulations, keep going. I'd finished that book, and it was Siddhartha, then it was Narcissus and Goldman. I mean, he just had non-stop books for me, and I had to look up 2 vocabulary words every day before we went to the gym at 6 in the morning. I had to write them down in a words book, use them in a sentence, all these things, and he'd call me from the studios and go, peruse, use it in a sentence. I was perusing the map and I found Seattle. Good, hang up.
What a great mentor.
Oh yeah, he was my Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And so John called me up, John Hirschfeld called me up and he said, and it's kind of a funny story, is that I had just auditioned for Days of Our Lives. And it's kind of a pertinent story because Dora Saba was the casting director. She said, oh my God, you are the finest young actor I've ever seen. How come you've never been in front of me before? I'm casting you as a reoccurring role. And I'm thinking, oh my God, my answers are saved. I'm finally working, you know. And I jump on the phone at the studios and I call John. I said, man, I got a role. And he goes, have you signed a contract yet? And I said, no. And he goes, don't get excited, Kurek. And I said, John, come on, man. Don't blow the air out of my bubble, man. You know. He goes, have I been in this business a long time? He said, you know how this is, man. He goes, until your check is cashed, not even when you get the check, wait until it's cashed before you get excited, you know. And I go, oh, he's just being a downer, you know. And anyways, it's 35 years later, I still haven't heard back from Dora Saba, right? But he called me up and he said, look, I know you're feeling bad. He goes, I'm putting you in my movie. I said, I didn't know you're doing a movie. He said, yeah. I said, well, who's in it? He said, well, I finally got back together, John Travolta, and John. Like,
and for a Grease fan.
Oh, and I'm like, you're just, no. And he goes, yes. And he goes, you're in it, you know. And so I was working construction at a studio, building a soundstage. Now, there's nothing worse than when you're an actor and you're working on a studio lot, but you're not acting. And Anne Margaret and Treat Williams and all these actors would stop by and hang out with us at lunch or whatever. And I just, you know, I was so angry and bitter that I'm not acting because I'm on a studio lot and there's all this movie stuff going on and I'm a construction guy, you know. And so I go into the commissary to have lunch and I got dirt and dust in my hair and I'm covered in soot. And so I sit in the farthest table that you can get to so nobody will bother me. So I want to eat by myself. And there's these 2 guys who walk in, you know, they walk in to the commissary. They weave their way through all the, there's no reason for them to go this way. They just weave their way through the tables, come right up to me and said, hi, how you doing? You look like an interesting guy. We just thought we'd introduce ourselves. And I'm like, look, you know, I'm having a bad day and, you know, I'm really not in the mood to talk. And, that's funny anyways, you know, and what's your name? And I tell them, they said, you know, you're doing construction, but you look more like an actor. I said, well, thanks. I am an actor, but I'm not acting, obviously. I'm doing construction, but I do have a couple lines in a movie with John Travolta coming up in a couple months. And this one guy goes, John Travolta? We're great friends with John Travolta. He said, this is Jim Bridges. He wrote and directed Urban Cowboy. Oh my God, like, you know, what an idiot. Of course it is, you know, now that because when you're angry, you know, you get blind, you know, you get what's called a stoma, a blind spot. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Bridges, I'm so sorry, you know. And I said to the other guy, I said, you look really familiar. Are you an actor? And he said, why,